Hi, I'm Lisa Allen, and this is Community Conversation. We are filming from HTTV Studios in the beautiful city of Summit. Today's hot topic is New Jersey Transit. My co-host George Lukacs couldn't be here today, but previously we went on location at New Jersey Transit to interview Executive Director Kevin Corbett, who discussed how the agency is improving and focusing on the future. Furthering our discussion, I'm speaking with Mayor of Summit, Nora Radest, to discuss the issues at a local level, and Senator Kane to get a legislator's perspective. Thank you so much for coming today, Mayor.
My pleasure. Delighted to be here.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you here because I feel like transit has been such a big topic around this town. A lot of the commuters, a lot of them are my friends. My husband goes into the city, so it's such an honor to have you talk about it.
My pleasure.
The first thing I actually want to talk about is I feel like Summit has been sort of thrust out into the state dialogue because Governor Murphy has come here twice. He actually signed the bill for the New Jersey Transit Reform Bill. How did that happen? Why did he choose Summit to come in and introduce it and then actually sign it?
Well, I think primarily because Summit is a transit hub, and it was easy for a lot of reporters to get to from our highways, from 2478. Yeah. But also, when I was at the original bill signing, I asked one of the handlers, why Summit? And he said, well, for what I just said, those reasons, but also the train station is glass. It has a lot of bright light. It can accommodate the press as well as guests that were invited to the signing. So that's why. I mean, and I don't think in particular that's the specific reason, but he also knows that Summit is an important transit hub. We have, of course, many residents from Summit who commute into the city. Then we have hundreds and hundreds of people who come to Summit. Either they park their car here or they're dropped off and commute by way of our trains into the city. Yeah. And so it's an important community.
Yeah, it kind of is a hub. It goes out from here everywhere. And so since you are mayor, I feel like a lot of people on the outside, they don't really see what's happening. We understand that the communication is bad or the safety isn't so great. But from a leadership perspective, I'm sure that you now kind of know the inside baseball a little bit better. What have you learned being mayor and developing this partnership with New Jersey Transit?
Well, I've learned that we can impact what's going on in New Jersey Transit to a certain degree. So 2 summers ago, when the Morris and Essex lines were disrupted, we found out shortly after New Jersey Transit found out because Amtrak made this decision to fix their train beds. We went down, a group of mayors, to New Jersey Transit, spoke to them and said, this is not workable. We can't just have this happen. And from the pressure we gave them, they then did bring buses to Summit that went into the city every day, all summer long. So the summer from hell really wasn't as bad as people thought. New Jersey Transit also put ferry schedules from both the Hoboken area terminal as well as further up in Jersey over to mid-Manhattan. And then also, we made it crystal clear to them that they must be better in communicating with us, and this was not just our first and only meeting. We wanted to come back, and we did. We went back a couple of times to have meetings with Kevin Corbett, at the head of NJ Transit, and the people that work for him, and they were very frank with some of the problems that they have. And one of the things I've learned as mayor is, it's not just a New Jersey Transit problem. It's an Amtrak problem. It's Port Authority is involved. Amtrak's funded by the federal government. We have state funding from New Jersey and New York. It's a very complex problem. We have aging infrastructure that needs to be repaired, and yet we have an increased number by thousands of people that are traveling every day into New York City, and people that are traveling from New York City to New Jersey. 50 years ago, that was not the case. Now, thousands and thousands of people come from Manhattan to work in New Jersey. In Summit alone, we have 17,000 people that commute to Summit every day who do not live here. So it's a complicated problem. It needs financial support. The prior governors did not support New Jersey Transit at all. I shouldn't say that at all. Of course, there was some money, but he decreased funding on a regular basis. So we need to fix the infrastructure, and they need to have the money to have their engineers fully trained and enough engineers. We've seen it recently. There have been a few days when they've had to cancel trains because they don't have enough engineers. They have hired many more. The state government legislature approved a law not taking away the requirement that engineers had to live in New Jersey. So that's important. They gave the funding for more training, and then now engineers can live elsewhere and still work in New Jersey. And then hopefully we're going to pay these engineers more, because what had happened in the past, they would get trained here and then they would go to work in New York City where they got paid more. So those are things that the current administration at the governor's level, at the legislature, and New Jersey Transit are working on. And that's important for me to understand so that I can communicate with our residents to say it's not just, a couple of engineers flipping switches down in Newark. It's a very complex problem, but it is the single biggest problem that affects our region. And if we don't get Gateway fixed and the tunnels built, we're heading for a serious problem.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up, because it is dangerous. It's actually a very dangerous situation. And I was going to ask you that question, that if something happens and one of those tunnels go down, has Summit given thought about how are we going to be able to help our residents get in and out of the city? Because it's going to be, I don't even want to say it's going to be mass chaos, but it will be.
It could be.
It could be mass chaos.
Yeah, I mean, no matter which way you go, we're going to have to rely upon the buses, right? And we've already started just this month a public-private partnership with Boxcar, and Boxcar is picking up residents in Summit. The city is not paying for it; the residents are, and they're taking them into Manhattan. One bus in the morning, or might even be two, but at one location at the train by the Broad Street. The entrance to the Broad Street garage is where they're being picked up, and they're taking them into Manhattan, taking them to Bryant Park, Port Authority, and a couple different locations, and then those buses are bringing residents back to Summit. In the event of a crisis where trains cannot be running, we are going to have to look at other private bus companies. We were doing that initially 2 summers ago, before the New Jersey Transit agreed to bring buses at their cost and not ours.
Right.
So these public-private partnerships are going to have to exist. So what we do is when they come to us, we're saying, okay, this is a great idea. Let's see how can we work with you. We're not paying for it, but we are promoting it, and that helps them. And any other, when we put out information like this, if there are other companies that want to get into the ride sharing or carpool sharing concept, they hear this is successful, then there might be more of those companies coming along.
Yeah.
The market forces really do help propel innovation.
I feel like you guys are always innovating in some way. I mean, I know parking doesn't have anything to do with transportation necessarily, but Summit has been on the precipice, or the pioneer of making sure, how do we deal with the parking problem?
Right.
People don't want to necessarily be driving around, when they have to catch a train. How do we deal with the contingency if we need to get people on buses versus trains? So I feel like Summit's always thinking ahead, and how do we help our residents get to work? Because we just want to get to work.
That's right. I mean, everybody's trying to do the same thing, and we are trying. So we do have up to 300 spaces for people that want to take Lyft from their homes to the train station in the morning. And the benefit of Lyft is that you can schedule your ride up to a week in advance rather than having to call 10 minutes before you want the car. We've also expanded that for people who live in the town and work in town, so resident employees. It works if they can have a car pick them up and bring them to their office, and then vice versa going home. And I think we've opened up to 50 to 100 spots for that. Wow. Not too many people are utilizing it yet, and I think that's maybe because they're just not aware of it. Or the habits. Their habits are such that they think they drive into town, they park their car, then they need to run an errand. So, you don't need to do this every day, but some days. It doesn't work for realtors, for instance, because they need to use their cars all day long for their business. But if you're working in an office and you're living in Summit, why not take advantage of Lyft to take you to the office and back?
And people can carpool with Lyft, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think for me and my husband just wants to get to the train in the morning. So it is sort of this habit change. But the irony is when Superstorm Sandy hit, people were commuting together.
Right.
And so sometimes it takes a crisis to shift that mindset. Right. So hopefully there's no crisis.
Right. But we're happy with the Lyft program. I would like to see it even more fully utilized, but it takes time for people's habits to change. But we certainly are getting cars out of the commuter parking lot, which is our goal.
That is. All right, so if people are not utilizing it, where do they go to
They
find
need
it?
to go to cityofsummit.org. It's our website. They can find out any information about that on the website. Just check off parking and hit click parking, and you can find out anything you need to know. I also want to say while I'm here is that the best way to get information from the city is to get notifications. And not everybody has the time or the energy to check out a website every day and see what's new. You want information coming to you, just the way the newspaper used to hit your front door or your driveway every morning. You want information coming to you. So I would say to people, please go to cityofsummit.org. Click on the bottom, notifications. When you do that, a long list of areas of the city are available for you to get information. You can get information about parking, recycling, permits for your buildings, when council meetings are being held, planning board, zoning board, agendas, minutes, anything. And all you need to do is put in your text, your email, and check off the items that you're interested in learning about. And then you will get information. You'll get emails or texts when that information is available. It's called a push notification.
Yeah.
We have increased that number by thousands
Wow.
over the last couple of years, and we have a great communications chief that really helps us in, and is leading forward. And because we understand the most important thing with our community is to let people know what's going on, and then listening to them when they have questions.
Absolutely. And Boxcar will be a part of that when it's, or is it already a part of
Boxcar
that?
is already on. If you go to the website,
Okay.
you can you'll see there's a box on the bottom. There's a whole sort of a scroll of, you can hit the arrow. I'm not very technically savvy, but you can hit the arrow and it tells you different stories, and there's a Boxcar story there.
Okay. And how do people find you? How do they get a hold of you? Same way?
Same way. I'm
Okay.
on the website, and so my
Facebook.
I have a Facebook page, the mayor's Facebook page. Also, my email is nradest@cityofsummit.org, and you can always find me through the website.
All
Or
right.
just come by City Hall.
Okay.
I'll be happy to see them anytime.
I'll come by.
All right. Thank
All
you,
right.
Lisa.
Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate having you.
My pleasure.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.